And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with their Sensei Alba. You know, I've been working 700 hours a day to fix my house. I'm going to put for sale for $8 million. It's all real. How do I? How do I pay for this stuff? Mommy and Daddy. My dad. Oops, I'm talking about somebody else. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Alba. Me. Hey, I'm here to tell you a story and don't believe a word I say. So, there's all kinds of fun stuff going on in the world. Death, destruction, Mr. Globaloni. What's Diff between now and killing people of color? Boo boo. Let's see. Let's reach out to some friends. So, I was looking at JT's channel and my story about the old Irish crone. And 78,000 views. The average view I've had for the last 4 years is about 100, give or take. But more recent, 20. How could Johnny Boy step on that scale? I really think Johnny Boy is a lot smarter than he looks. I mean, I lived with him for a number of years, so pretty much, I think he's an alien. I think he's the devil. Because he really doesn't do anything except read certain, things from the Bible that's named after him. And what's the diff? Oh, let's see. I'll try those guys later. I'll try her now. Sure, okay. Oh, she's not going to answer.
Stay to the customer service desk. Please stay to the customer service desk.
There we go. JT's. Oh, there he is. Hey, JT, how you doing, buddy?
Hi.
So you desperately wanted to talk to me the other day.
What's JD?
What today is it?
Why'd you call me JD? Juvenile delinquent?
No. T. Top dog.
JT.
The man. JT, the man.
What's
You're the man.
JD?
You're the man, John. You're the man.
You're
the man. No, I'm the dude. You're the
man.
No, I'm the dude.
You're the man and the dude.
I am the man and the dude. John, that video,
Tony Robbins.
The video did with
Tony Robbins, the power of being big.
Yeah, that's you, John. You're Tony Robbins.
No.
Yeah, that's the JT. John Tony. John Tony Robbins.
I know.
Yep.
No.
So that video, you did of Donald Trump was great. That was great. I mean, you look more like Donald Trump than Donald Trump.
They have an app you can get on your phone. I can show you how to download.
Well, all I want to know, John, is, when
Oh,
we first did the old crone.
I found a wizard beard. I found your magical wizard beard, your godly Jesus-like wizard beard. But guess what?
What?
Your godly Jesus-like wizard beard. This time, it's actually my hair. So I became more like
or
you.
you cut your hair off and you stuck it on your chin?
No, it was from my hair, but it looks like one of your Jesus-like beard. You're almost
Jesus
magical, but
Jesus
not
never,
magical, but a good way.
Jesus never had my beard because
God
my
and
beard
Jesus.
usually has chunks of, macaroni and cheese.
No, it looks
and
very
pizza.
light. It looks like almost a white or blonde color. Not blonde, but it looks like gray and white. It looks white, but it's still a man's hair. So I don't. I would throw it in the garbage, even though it was like it looked like it was like when I found it, it was like something like
Where did you?
not a shaman because it's for God and Jesus. God and Jesus. God and Jesus.
Hey, John. Shaman is just someone who's a teacher. It's not a. It's not. It's not a. It's not an idol. It's like calling. Do you remember your first grade teacher's name?
Painful, I think.
Mrs. Painful?
No, Mrs. Painful.
Painful.
No, Painful.
Oh, shit.
He was my kindergarten teacher.
Kindergarten.
Mrs. Painful. She passed away.
Well, so you could call, you could call her a shaman because she was your kindergarten teacher. That's all the word shaman means, a teacher, right? Nothing religious, nothing sacred, nothing, anything.
It's God and Jesus. It's godly and Jesus-like.
Right. Well, only God and Jesus is God and Jesus-like. Jesus was put on this earth to give people to move forward to. Jesus, we can, act in service to God, and we can follow the example of Jesus, and that's all they ask. We're here to serve God's love. And we are here to follow the example of Jesus Christ's unconditional forgiveness. That's all we got to do, right? That's all we got to do. It's no big deal.
Tony Robbins, strong billionaire. I know, it's Tony Robbins, tall, big billionaire with a big jaw and big face.
Back in the day when Tony Robbins was just starting to do his gig, I went to one of his things. The guy who I work for sent me to take his course, and we walked across the burning embers, right? And so it was really quite an interesting thing in that he had about 6 feet of burning embers, charcoal briquettes, and he got them, burning really good to the point where they were of a temperature they wouldn't stick to your skin, right? And on either end of the burning skin, they had like a artificial, turf, and they had it all soaked up in water and arrow, the stuff that's good for your skin. And you walked on that, which made your feet, the bottom of your feet, all moist and yarrowy. And then you kind of went quickly over the burning, things, and you probably didn't do any more than 4 or 5 steps. And so you walked up to it and you stood there and you felt the heat. That was the thing. You felt the heat. And then you stepped back and you got ready and you ran across the hot coals. And of course you didn't burn your feet. And that was to show that you're paying $1,200. You can do anything, right? You can walk on hot coals. And so anyway, that was Tony Robbins, and he didn't seem any more better than the guy I got my Egg McMuffin from that morning. He didn't seem any more powerful or more on top of it, or he knew the secret. Tony Robbins kind of struck me as the same guy who gave me my the guy at McDonald's who gave me my Egg McMuffin, right? So, and that's pretty much everybody. There is no human beings are basically meat puppets, right? And we are spirit, which is the thing that's part of the Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We are the Holy Spirit. We are the AR, all our relations. We're all of that, work in progress. And that's what we're supposed to be doing with our life, serving, God's love and Jesus' forgiveness. To act, making money, it's just something you have to do in the material world, but it's not who you are. All these guys who are, billionaires, they're no better than you.
Tony Robbins, he's a nice guy. Hey, hey, how are you? Hey, how you doing there?
So John, why do you think the?
I need $2 billion now. Messed off now. I need $2 billion.
It's crazy. Crazy. Maybe he's crazy. I've been talking to you guys for a good almost 4 years. September will be 4 years. And yes, I have my little adepts, my 100 adepts. I have about 1,700 people who watch this, 70,000 people who watch this. But, we only have, around 500 subscriptions. Not many people comment. Jamie's the only person who really gives me a thoughtful comment. Now, I have a lot of thoughtful comments when I talk to you guys on my email, thedudeawake42@gmail. And I want to thank you all, well, the few of you who have sent me a gift in the last few months. Right? Most of you have been people who can't even afford it. Like a handful of $10 and $20 things in my PayPal, and sometimes somebody throws home, but it's magically delicious in that it's always just enough to take care of whatever I got to take care of. Because I live on $400. Could you live on $400? Let's see who's that? Any comments? Can't see. And these glasses are not my super duper glasses. Here's me being Mr. Anthropologist when I'm about 30 years old. There's my dingo dog right there. And he's trying to pull me into the circle, right? And here is baby Jesus, right there. And here is the Virgin Mary. This girl had no sex, right? All these people in their 90s. She was in her 20s, and there was no guy there for her. And I lived with these people for a year or so. And you know how old this baby is? This baby is less than a month old. And within 2 months, it was running around. What has got around its head? A halo. Right? And so, tell you stories of things, and I show you pictures of things. And it's a life that I had and still have. And the way I have this life is a life is a life that I live. You know, I don't. Yeah, I live out in the middle of the deep green. You know, for 18 years there was nobody there. It was my nature preserve, and my friends were all animals, right? And then in 2020, the rich. I thought the rich would never show up, but see these people, rich. You know, they're like JT Johnson, not rich. His mommy and daddy give him, right? And they only do it because they can, because they take it off their taxes. You know, they give them 20, 30 grand a year, and they can write that totally off their taxes, right? And that's what rich people do. They give their kids cash. You know, they set up trusts, you know, and I don't know if they set up a trust for John. They should, because, you know, once mommy and daddy are gone, I don't know how well. Meaning, I spent Thanksgiving with his family. They're, you know, John's family are no worse and a lot better than a lot of other families, right? They are your basic Italian and Irish family. And that's what I have. Well, I have an Irish German Italian. I have a little Nazi thrown in, right? About a quarter Nazi, quarter Irish, quarter half Sicilian. And so, and I was brought up by a brilliant, and she wasn't Sicilian. My grandma, though she was Italian, she came from the islands off of Sicily, right? And those people were basically Vikings. She was Nordic. She was the Celt. She was the old Rome. And from my birth until I was 7, she brought me up, right? So that's why I am the way I am. And New York City at that time, New York City still today, what I love about New York City, and I haven't been there since 2011, and that 2-week period when I was there in 2011, I had been there since 2008, because, 1988, right? Because 1988 is when I said, okay, hasta la vista, New York City, right? I did everything I could. I tied it all up in a nice bow, and I moved on. That's when I became a itinerant scholar. That's when I went to Cornell, when I started my career as an itinerant scholar. And with AI and artificial learning, they don't need guys like me. I mean, they do every now and then. But I had a nice little black book of clientele. And after I died in 2014, and I crawled back 7 years later, I kind of, well, 3 years, well, let's see. I died in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. 4 years later, I got my little black book and called up my clientele, and they all said, oh, we thought you were dead. We heard you died in a plate of spaghetti. Oh, well, we don't need you anymore. We replaced you with an app. Pretty much. Especially doctors, lawyers, judges, politicians, all going to be replaced by an app, right? Because this whole little thing with JoJo, the used car salesman from Delaware, and Donnie Chump, that you saw on John's channel, basically is a Nazi, right? A fascist, a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Not Donald Trump per se, Donnie Chump, right? Personified by JT, right? So anyway, how about the three of you, how about some thumbs up, right? How about some contacts, Let's see. Let's reach out to somebody else. Contacts. Oh, let's try Sweetie. Come on. How about some thumbs up, guys? There's three of you there. What would it take? What would it take? Come on. Half these people don't even wake up yet. No, she's not answering. Boop, boop, boop. Reggae, man. Reggae. Mm. Ah. Do. So there is no difference in politicians. They're all the best money can buy. And this year, you thought the last 23 years, 22 years.
Hold on.
I'm holding on. I'm bouncing around to reggae music live.
Hello, Sensei.
Hey, handsome. What's shaking in your world? What's your biggest?
Am I live?
You're live, baby. You're live.
Oh boy. Oh, this is Mr. Magic, everybody, live and direct from City MD, waiting to be tested for COVID-19.
You've been tested. You've been
Per his
tested.
employer.
You're COVID plus.
I'm waiting to be tested. I do not have the results as of yet.
Didn't you go get one of those things you jab up your
My
brain?
job is requiring I do it because there was a report of recent exposure within the building where I work.
Yeah, so how about New York City? How's New York City doing?
Well, it appeared that there was a lot of quote-unquote flu in New York, to which I did have.
Yeah.
And it was COVID negative, but it was a pretty rough patch for the last week of December.
Did you get your flu shot?
Yeah, so unfortunately, Christmas plans and New Year's plans got diverted to bed rest, soup, vitamin C, and a lot of rest. And my voice is a little banged up from all the coughing.
Right. Well, you needed rest.
I definitely did.
You needed a rest. You know.
Hold on a moment. I'm being instructed to put my mask on. Hold on.
Put your mask.
Okay, I am now compliant with my mask.
You're not compliant.
I think Clayton Moore's in here with me, but anyway. I don't even think people know who Clayton Moore was.
Tell us.
You know who he was. You tell him.
No. You're the guest. You tell.
I'm the guest. I'm the patient. Fans, the doctor is a double doctor, and I don't need to say that twice. So since he outranks me, I will submit. Clayton Moore was the actor who portrayed the Lone Ranger in the television series.
That's right.
They're calling me now. I will call you back.
Okay, Slim. See, that's one of the things I do. When I spend a lot of time often with doctors, and if I'm in the waiting room, I get on the phone, right, and get them to Lindsay. Oh, there he is. So you're back.
Yes, false alarm.
Listen.
What I am going to do, and I'll let you and the fans know when they do call me. I will, if you're open to this, Al,
Yep.
I will leave the phone on. I just won't be talking, and you'll get to hear me.
Oh yeah, we'd love to hear that. Yeah.
the nurse and whoever else is going to be sticking things in my nasal cavity.
Right. Now, is there any kind of, from my experience as a double doctor, I don't know if there's a neurosis. You can be anal retentive, you can be scatological, you can be a lot of that. But is there anything about sex in your nose that you know of? Are there people?
I've heard it in a humorous way,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's an actual thing. There was a movie out many years ago. I think it's called Happiness or How to Find Happiness. It was this series of vignettes. I never saw the film, but there was a series of vignettes in this film that depict people doing these really crazy, getting involved in these weird fetishes to obtain what they thought was happiness for them. And one of them was a woman who derived sexual pleasure from putting tubes up her nose and inhaling peas.
Ooh.
So that's the most I know, and that's kind of a vague memory.
Ooh.
So I'd have to kind of do some Google searching to verify that. But that's the only one that comes to mind.
Ooh. It's like fingernails on the blackboard for me. The only thing I want to put up my nose is air.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But then again, it's funny you brought this up because there are folks who engage in maybe IV drug use or any kind of drug use for that matter.
Yeah.
There is a certain rituals that go along with that, and I IV was not my thing, but I had a friend who reported. Now, actually, there's a few that reported that they really fetishized the needle.
Yes. Well, yeah.
They were like
almost religious experience.
even to the point where if they didn't even have the narcotic, they would just shoot water into their bodies.
Like people who get plastic surgery, and they start out very naturally attractive, and they end up looking like their cat.
Nice. Yeah. I guess it's just the compulsion of there's all different kinds of compulsion, and people like pick at the skin or scratch or there's all kinds of stuff that humans can get, and it's I'm no double doctor, and I don't have to say that twice, but I think it all comes from trauma. It all comes from it's a maladaptive way of self-soothing.
My last few years of observation of the human experience, I've come to realize the singular issue or problem of humanity is that we are all suffering from PTSD.
Correct.
I mean, every one of us, not just a few.
Yes. Everybody.
And you don't have
it's
to
a
be,
spectrum of it.
in the middle of a foxhole being, hit by artillery shells. You can have PTSD. Look at Johnny Boy. He has nothing really to point at as a great trauma. So he was a little chubby when he was a kid. Big deal. That's about a third of the population. Look at girls. Girls are, their whole coming, into womanhood has been fetishized and taken out of, like, when little kids are little kids, boys and girls, they're the same. They run around and bump into each other and play tag, and there is no, you're a boy, I'm a girl. I mean, there's a little, but not really. But once girls start to get a little shapely, their hormones change and their biology changes. The girls used to be able to run faster than the boys. The girls used to be able to do all these things better than the boys, and then the boys got better. And the fact that girls are so, bulimia and all those eating disorders, because they're trying to take control of their body in a way that is not healthy, because the society traumatized them by saying, you should look like this, you should act like this, you should. No, sorry, but that is just one of the traumas that human beings go through, that 50% of the population goes through. And I would say that all of the misogynists, this,
Okay, I'll put the phone
okay,
down and I will.
here we go.
You can listen, okay? All right.
Here we go.
Hello. So I hope you guys can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, good. I'm waiting for the doctor to come. So now I'm in the little room.
Are you in the cubicle?
Yeah, I'm in the cubicle. I'm at a doc in the box, or what's called the City MD. For those listeners who are that does not exist in your part of the country, the world, or what have you, City MD is not a primary care physician situation. It's sort of like a clinic, a walk-in clinic almost. They're and they're quite convenient. They're really made for convenience rather than setting up a doctor's appointment.
Around the rest of the United States, like cities like Asheville or cities like Boone or Johnson City or Blacksburg, the pharmacies, the pharmacy in the Walmarts, the pharmacy in the supermarket act like that. They do everything that a doctor would do except emergency care. Then you go to the...
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I wish we had stuff like that much sooner. I take full advantage of it.
That got built out way before the COVID. Like when I would say it started really taking off with Walmarts and then the large pharmacies like CVS in the 80s and 90s when the HMOs started destroying the American medical system. Those corporations got it.
Well, you know what HMO stands for, right?
No, tell me.
Hand money over.
That's very true. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put it down now. Hold on. My employer of possible COVID contagions. And they said this test to be done exactly today.
So that's kind of the interesting thing that, I mean, we are on the doorstep of the world is either going to be Star Trek or
Carbon test. It was
I forgot. It'll come to me. 33 minutes and 40 seconds. How much juice is left? About 70%. Still 12 o'clock. So, let's see. Can't quite read. These glasses are useless. I mean, they're nice. Let's see.
So you don't have any symptoms, you just want to get tested. Sounds great. What was that?
Me staying with John. It's like,
Last week.
it's more comfortable freezing out in the deep green than being with John. Because he drinks a little too much coffee, he does a little too much this, and he just like, get out! I'll kill you! And I didn't say that. God and Jesus, God and Jesus. That's not an excuse. God and Jesus is not an excuse. And the main thing about God and Jesus is that we do not judge. Now, I'm a flawed human being, and I can judge just like the best. But 60% of me is consciously aware, so I'm going, oops, I'm judging here. Let me stand back. Let me take a better look. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I get it. So that's kind of where I'm at, Still got another 40% that I was a moron. Back in the day, when I was the dude, getting to know all the avant-garde of New York and great folk. And, I met John Lennon in a pharmacy, and we had breakfast at least twice a week with his little son, Sean. And I didn't realize he was John Lennon until I had dinner with him. Oh, John Lennon. Didn't know that. Dakota. Oh, yes, I could have known better. Anyway, so that's because I'm naive, and I'm still naive. I still trust everyone, right? And this is Kate Bush. I love this. Running up like Sisyphus.
March 23rd, 3 years. Yes.
So if John could just let me stay there and let me help him, that would be great. It's like the first 2 years, right? Like I did. I go, oh, I've worked, 70 hours every day. For the last 5 years, it's worth $1 million. No, sorry. The first he had Mr. Mike, who was a great guy. Mr. Mike fixed everything that really needed to fix. The house was falling down. He fixed, right? And fixed all the plumbing stuff and the electric stuff. And I basically fixed things so they'd work and be safe. But I didn't go full Monty. Because why should I? It was just me for 15 years, right? But once John bought the place, he had no, I knew people in the insurance business, so they gave me insurance. They didn't even come look at the place, right? And all the rest. So John really has fixed everything, every little teeny weeny thing, and he's like redecorated, repainted, resculptured, did everything to the place. He turned into an art piece, which is cool. I think it's very cool. But the majority of the hard work, the fixing, the sheetrocking, the putting in windows, fixing the, and he keeps doing stuff. Like he uses, 90 rolls of toilet paper every time he moves. Right? I have no idea what that means, but he clogs up the system like, because when George put in the septic line, half of it's going uphill. It's like Kate Bush. The song is written in testament to the school's septic system, running uphill. How about another thumbs up, gang? Come on. So, I may or may not go to see John. Like I said, I'd rather, I'm doing very nice with my electric blanket. Right? Now, I might leave here because the rich people are more annoying. Like the guy, he went to visit his tweaker, staying in my school bus. Colonel Sanders left his tweakers in the woods. He left a week and a half before Christmas when it was still, 50 at night. 50 during the day and 30 at, 40 at night. And then it went down to 60 degrees below zero. Right? And it was, everyone was saying, oh, it's going to get cold for Christmas. And he left a week before. He went to Florida with his family, and he locked his house. So he can't stay in the house, can't be in the house. And he just left in the woods. With no food, no money. They would have died.
Okay. Yes, I'm not sure if you could hear that, but
did they just scrape your brain?
They poked my cranium. They poked my cerebral.
Yeah.
My cerebellum. So now I'm just waiting to talk to the doctor about some post-nasal drip stuff.
Yep.
So, and then hopefully I'll have the results of the rapid before I leave.
Do you know what tea tree oil is, or thieves?
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely. Tea tree oil is great.
So you
I actually
boil up some
probably should
water.
get some.
You put a couple of drops in the cup, and you breathe in the fumes, and it
Okay.
goes all the way to
Oh.
your toe. It gets real. You breathe it in through your nose, and it will clear up your toe fungus. Now, don't believe a word I say.
Well, you are a double doctor, so
Yeah, well, yeah.
I can at least take in
Yeah,
some
it's advice.
suggestions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a good story.
No, but it's good. And actually, there's a fairly, well, not fairly, a very good health food store around here. So that will be my next mission.
What health food store?
I forget the name of it. It's on Queens Boulevard. They've been around for a long time. It's not
Yes.
like a GNC. It's like
No,
like a
I
mom and
know
pop.
exactly what you're talking about. There was
They've been around for a long time.
I had a girlfriend who started a thing called Crow and Coon, which was the first real bulk purchaser of medicinal herbs in in the 70s, and she had a great store down on Bank Street and another one down. Her main building was on Duane Park down in Tribeca,
Gotcha.
and she did that, and then she sold it to somebody who sold it to somebody and made it into Whole Earth. So she was actually the founder of Whole Earth. She did pretty good. Her daddy was the big basketball coach of UMass, Coach Zunick, and Judy was, like I said, one of the first real, like Whole Earth catalog. The guy who did that, he was her friend. They used to have the Whole Life Expo at the big hotel that's right across the street from Madison.
Javits?
No, across from Madison Square Garden.
Oh, what is it called? The Manhattan Center?
It starts with an M. It'll come in. But they have a gigantic ballroom that has mezzanine after mezzanine after mezzanine. You can
the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yes, you can stick like 30,000 people in there. You know, it's like gigantic.
It's a lot of balls.
Yeah. So that's what.
And I don't have to say that twice.
Yes, they used to have the Whole Life Expo there back in the day. Did you ever stumble across down on Spring Street? There was a really interesting esoteric community. It was either called the Blue Door or the Green Door.
Yeah, I think it's the Theosophic Society. I think they were.
No, they were part of it, but this thing was more like the clearinghouse or the mall of the New Age. You know, everybody was there.
Gotcha.
I mean, the Theosophical Society had its own thing, and they had their like over where Weiser's Books store was, over 2nd or 3rd Avenue in the teens, over there. There was a lot of esoteric stuff, and up Lexington Avenue. What is the park where Lexington Avenue starts downtown? Where that hotel is?
Lexington Avenue Park.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
right. It's the hotel. The St. Regis is where.
Hotel California.
Right, where what's his name? Dolly pushed the piano out the window of the bar.
I think John is part of the Hotel California.
Yes, he is.
Go there.
Yep.
John, I hope you're watching the show.
Well, we started off with John, and and then he. I mean, you know, I was looking at my channel, and you know, down below it is all of the shows that I put on John's channel, and all my shows have maybe, you know, at the most 200 people or 200 views, right?
Right.
But the shows that I put on John's are like 75,000.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Right.
Of views.
So I mean, John is truly an interesting character in that I have a sense that all of what he is doing, he's actually doing on purpose.
I would like to think so.
Right? And that, you know, it's like one big performance art piece. You know, I used to be a performance artist in in the 1970s. You know, I was a wizard and I made lightning jump all over the place and stuff like that. Did you ever see this Japanese guy who was a chef? And he would get a big watermelon and he'd core it out and he'd make a really beautiful fruit salad and he'd dump it into the watermelon and then he'd take his samurai sword and he would chop it. And he'd go boom, 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 and he would take it all the way down to where you thought his hand was, and all this beautiful fruit would be coming out of the end of the watermelon, and you expected fingers to be in it, right? Did you ever see that guy?
No.
Jiro was his name, and there were guys like that. We were of a certain set of performance artists, and then there were guys who did installations. Remember installation art? I did a lot of that.
Well, there was what's that guy's name? I can't remember. He was a real nut.
We were all real
like,
nuts.
rolled himself up in a carpet.
Yes,
I forget his name.
yes.
I went to see like a video. Well, not the installation, but this was back in 1988, where you couldn't see like video artists like on YouTube or anything like that. You had to go to a gallery or a screening.
Yep.
Even if it was just on a little TV. And it was like 30 people watching a little TV.
Yep.
Oh, what was this guy's name? Apate, I think was the last name.
Yes.
And yeah, he did some pretty interesting things. I always liked Nam June Paik.
Yes.
As far as installations were concerned, he
Yes.
was a big influence on me.
Yes.
When I was really young, because there was being stuck in the burbs with the same family. Channel 13 PBS was really like a window into the world for me. And there was a show on that was called Live from Off Center.
Yes.
Laurie Anderson was a part of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Some others. Pioneers of sort of video art.
Right.
And that actually inspired me to kind of, get
So you never ran up against Captain Louis?
You had mentioned that before, no? And then I mentioned to you, I knew of that guy. Oh, what's his name? Dirty George?
Yeah, Dirty George. Yep.
Who was just like,
He was a Manhattan cable guy.
Manhattan cable network, and he just basically would find women who were willing to be topless in public places.
Right. I mean, yes.
Perform some kind of lewd acts for the benefit of his camera. Ugly George.
Yep, Ugly George. Yep. And we knew him well.
I was inspired by Al Goldstein.
Right.
Very impressionable adolescent getting into pornography.
Yep. And the stuff we did on Potato Wolf was more. We had Annie Sprinkle on with prostitutes, and that was part of our show, and she would do sexual, but she was a anthropologist. She was like Margaret Mead of sexual acts.
Yes. Exploring her vagina.
Yes, well, others and other body parts.
Is she still alive? I wonder if she's still alive.
Oh yes. I still get a Christmas card from her. Yep.
God bless you, Annie.
Yes.
Water sports was never my thing, but hey, just to each his own. I suppose.
Right, exactly. And that's
wrenching before.
That is one beauty of America is we are such mutts that our culture is so diverse, and the powers that be realize that if you just give the chuckleheads just a little so they can screw around with that, they won't bother with the big picture,
Well, there's more things to be distracted with.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, go down this rabbit hole, go down this one.
Right. I mean, that's what all of the...
Let the adults work out the adult problems.
Right.
And you go watch a basketball game.
Yeah. Yep. And, in Europe, and the rest of the world has its own version of that. But they have been so steeped in imperial, European white imperialism that was, 200 years of that. The news is coming in. I guess this is why the universe didn't want me to go to New York City. Because I've been out in the woods, exposed to nothing except the tweakers, but I stay a good 6 feet away from them. I put them up in my bus. I have a wood stove. The bus, was warmer than my man cave. Except these guys, don't know how to start a fire in the wood stove. It's sad. So they've been burning it up, And they said, well, you need to go to Lowe's and buy us firewood. I said, no, I don't. What you need to do is just go down the hill into Colonel Sanders' wood lot and take his wood and burn it up because he left you here, So Colonel Sanders, when he got back, was not too upset because he would have gotten blamed. These people posted that because he actually has them as slaves. But all of you who work at a job, you're a slave too. Right? Don't quite know that. Let's see. There's Jamie. You're already right. Now we're going to be right or wrong. It's just right wing, left wing, two wings of the same Tweety bird. And it's pretty much what it is. I do this show for you, not for me, for you. Right? I don't need this to be the raison d'etre of my life. My raison d'etre is to serve, right? Remember that Twilight Zone to serve man? Right? It's still only 12:30. The day is still young. And we have had 52 minutes. About another 20 minutes. I have to hit the road and do other things. So, just wondering that we're still in the first month, right? So my New Year's resolution was to double down on opening the door to Jesus' unconditional forgiveness into my head. Open that door, let him in. Right? And the same with God's unconditional love. Open that door in my heart. Now it's in there, but sometimes I don't open the door. It's like when you have a wood stove, you have to. There's the dampener up here, and then there's the air vent over here, and that's kind of how our spirit has to be motivated through forgiveness and unconditional love. When you do that, you can overcome anything, right? As I have now. Being the double doctor, being the kid, the dude, the man, all the above. I've done all these things without realizing I was doing it. Right? That's what a lucky bastard does. He serves God's unconditional love without realizing that he's serving it. He's just doing it organically, right? Doing it normally, doing it the way God planned it, right? But God wanted us to use our free will. Walking out of the Garden of Eden, we're still in the Garden of Eden. We just ate the apple of understanding of the illusion of ego, right? And so we don't have to get stuck in it because it's our free will to choose, but it's easy to do, right? So, but serving love's co-creation enables us to not get stuck in that ego. Now, we went from.
I'm back with you.
You're back with you. Are you infected?
No, I am COVID negative. As per the rap, PCR, we do not know.
Right.
I will ask them to give me some kind of documentation so that I can bring that to the office.
Right. So you can go to the movies.
Go back to the movies, exactly. I don't know if you've heard some of the other stuff. I'm very fortunate. I'm actually asked this doctor here if, where his main practice is because I'd like him as my primary.
Boo, 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 boo. Anyway, so you know, at least 100 million people die every year of war, starvation, disease, rumors of war, rumors of pestilence, and the environmental thing. It's been with us pretty much since that asteroid hit the place. That was the biggest environmental accident there was.
How are you?
I'm back. You're back. We're both back. So what were you were saying? I don't know if you've heard. I haven't heard anything. I live in the woods, right?
Okay. So you could hear the whole conversations and stuff.
No.
Oh, well.
So, but you were about to say something's going on in New York.
As far as contagions and things of that nature,
As far as anything,
there was a lot of people had the flu
Huh.
or symptoms, and it was pretty weird.
any more than usual?
I don't think, over looking back, no, not really.
Right.
I mean, this time of year is the flu season, and the weather changes and stuff that affects people.
New York City, on the average, has 1 million people get the flu during the winter. On average, right? Where they have to stay home, they feel miserable for a week, and then they take another week to get semi-better.
Yeah. No, I was just asking this doctor here if she does work as a primary care. Fortunately, he does, and I really like his demeanor. He has a really good attitude because a lot of doctors don't handle, at least in my experience, asthmatic patients with a lot of respect. And this guy was very cool. So, oh, okay, you got it. But he was all like, one, he knew what he was talking about. He had a lot of empathy, although he doesn't suffer from the illness. He had such an insight into it, probably because he listened to his patients over the years.
Right, exactly.
I was just, and the one thing I really liked right out of the gate is he said, asthmatics are very aware of their bodies. I said, yes, we are.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like right off the bat, you built my alliance right there. I was like, good. Because we do.
And the problem when I said about HMOs and you said hand over the money, basically the average doctor doesn't know what he's doing, or she. And more she doctors know what they're doing than male doctors. And so whenever you have anything to do with them, they basically, last week and this week, I'm just getting my homeostasis back to where it was. I kind of went off the path when I stayed at John's parents' house. His mother's a real Italian, and she had all the goodies from my childhood, and she had plates of it everywhere. And so I just, what's 2 days, what's 3 days of eating these cookies going to do to me? Well, it threw me, under the bus for about a month. Anyway, I went to, different doctors, and my primary guy who knows me, he got the flu, so I had to see other people, and they said, "Oh, you're gonna have a heart attack. You need this, you need that." No, I don't. I just need, this, and give it to me. And where my primary care doctor, he's always listening to what I'm saying. He knows that I understand me and everybody else better than he does. So anyway, it took me a month to kind of wean my way, but I am so poor that I have to do what they say. So I had to take all the tests. I said, okay, I'm not letting you touch me with a knife until you do every test you have to do. But you'll probably die before then. I said, fine. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, I basically had all these tests, and I basically had to intercede continuously because he didn't know what they were doing. And now that's me, double doctor. The average person
Right, most people don't have that kind of awareness or an
or
understanding
experience or know what's going
or
on.
experience.
Right.
And one, I mean, I want to devil's advocate, but one, I think that's a failure of our society as a whole not to teach people, at the bare minimum, when you're engaging in any kind of a service, whether it be mental health or physical health, that you have to have a level of awareness of what your needs are. And that's not transmitted down like this. That should be taught like in school.
Right.
So that's a failure on that part, that the individual doesn't even have the awareness of like, hey, you gotta be responsible for this. You can't just coast in there and just, okay, like whatever you give me. Like you have to be, self-advocacy is not something that's really promoted in our culture.
In our culture.
When it comes to that. And then the other side of it is, the doctors need to be more mindful, and so there's two parties to that need to be accountable. Society as a whole. Oh, actually three: society as a whole, the individual, and the institution.
And these
So
things are
that's kind of where I stand on that.
These things are systemic. They are manufactured so the general public is bovine.
Right.
We're domesticated.
Well, I mean, listen, we could talk about the problem, but let's look at the solution, right? We're sharing that right now.
Right.
Like we're giving the suggestions right now.
Well,
you're not
one term.
We're saying, hey, be more accountable. Go and learn something.
Right.
Or if you have knowledge to share with your fellows, do it. Be of service.
And so where there's that saying, "Doctor, heal thyself." Everyone
Correct.
needs to be their own doctor.
Oh, Jesus thought that too.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, "I did not come for." I'm quoting it not that well, but he said, "I did not come for those in health. I came to those who needed a doctor." Now, he didn't just come to help heal. He came to teach you to heal yourself. Because he said you can do this too. You can, so many words. He said you can heal yourself. And that's where kind of a lot of people like Norman Vincent Peale and the New Thought kind of like took off from that. I mean, prior to Norman Vincent Peale, the New Thought trip came around like in the 1800s or thereabouts. And there were many others. These things that you and I talk about, they're rooted in very ancient wisdom. They're just expressed in different methods over the years. But, so I'm glad I got a hold of you. I've been trying to reach out to you for a little bit. Call every once in a while. I know your situation with the signal, so I pick my spots.
Yep. I see you call, and then I try to call back.
Yeah, then I'm not available. But it's when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, right, exactly. When the magic happens. Yep. And
I have another retreat coming up. March.
March. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I think when we first really started talking. Remember, you called me when I had just finished the retreat last year. I just got home, so it's the cycles. I'm looking forward to this retreat too. So get some good people.
So, have you ever had the experience that the Christians call being born again, where you basically Jesus is at the door knocking all the time? Hey, here I am, and most all the time we ignore it, but sometimes when we're at that place, we open the door.
Correct.
So tell me what that was like for you, when it was. Do you remember the day, the date?
Well, sure. I'm going to give a framework, and I'm not even going to say that it was necessarily Jesus, but it was being born again. However, I'm also going to just say this hopefully for the benefit of whoever's listening. Being born again is not a one-time event.
No, it's an every second.
There's an initial awakening, if you will, or being born again. There's an initial. Sometimes that's within a ritual space or what have you, but there's the initial period. However, after, and I'm going to use some like sort of Christian or spiritual language, once the grace has been given, it is the responsibility to maintain the grace.
Yep, it's in every second manner. You still there, kid? Did I lose you? Huh. You still there, Bob? Yoo-hoo. Bob, yoo-hoo. Homeboy. Well, I guess this is the time to say, Abilze, hasta la vida. I got things to do. Is it 1 o'clock yet? Nope. Still 12:48. Well, there's 3 thumbs up. A bunch of people have watched. I hope you got something out of this. In every day and every way, take the piece of it to make it stronger. You need to open that door 24/7. Right? And it's not just to be a poster boy, to truly, do your best. Right? You can't be perfect, but you can do your best. That's what your Sensei Alban does. I do my best. Now, 40% of the time I'm a moron, but 60% of the time I am consciously aware. Right? So I go, ooh, look at that. I'm being a moron. Okay, why am I being a moron? How am I being a moron? What should I do? I'm going to stop this moment and really see what I'm saying, what I'm doing. I'm putting it in a frame of love's co-creation. Right? So that's where we need to go. Right? Yeah. So it's a beautiful day. I'm going to get out in the sun. I'm going to leave my elevator music office, and I care about you all the time. You're in my cadre. 100 or so of you that get a hold of me at the dudeawake42@gmail. Keep it up. And those who send me a present on my PayPal, keep it up, because it's a magical thing. It just kind of comes, won't be there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Just when the electricity is about to be turned off, I'm going to be frozen into a popsicle. Bingo. Someone throws some money in. Right? So, that's why I don't worry. I'm not anxious. Now, I get annoyed about things like this morning when Colonel Sanders came by on his tricycle or his 4Runner or whatever he was on, and he stopped out in front of the tweakers, and they're really sick. He's trying to make them do stuff out there in the cold, and they're not dressed. I mean, I had to give them hats and gloves, and I have this magic pony that. So one of the mountain kids has got some kids. One of their kids had a birthday, and they didn't have the money for a present. Right? And so I said, well, we got to get going. It's our kid's birthday, and blah blah blah. Someone's having a birthday party, and we at their house at somebody else's house. So. There you are. You disappeared.
Sorry for the continual disconnections.
Yeah, you disappeared there. But that's okay. I was talking about my magical pony. And yesterday, one of the holler kids has some kids. These are kids having kids. It's not a pretty sight. And one of their kids was having a birthday, and they had no money for anything, right? So I went over into my magic pony, and I started pulling stuff out. Like someone gave me a box of yodels, and I can't eat that. But it's that's been in the bottom of my pony for at least 6 months, and I dug around.
You'll see for a long time.
Oh yeah, like 60 years, I think.
I think they're mentioned in Revelation.
Yes, they're mentioned in Revelations, along with Twinkies. That's what the Jews were. The manna falling from the sky.
That's the manna, exactly.
Yep.
Moses actually had a time machine.
Yep. And so, I and it was a box of 24 packages, right? So I pulled that out, and I had a plush toy in there. I mean, a real gigantic, almost as big as the kid, and super plush. I mean, just
How old is the kid?
the kid is, I don't know, 13, 14, somewhere between 12 and 14, middle school age, whatever that is.
Right.
Anyway, she really loves that kind of stuff, both things,
Nice.
right?
Nice.
And magically, I pulled it out of
The
my
pony.
pony, and I had a a band jacket I had from 8th grade, right? And I pulled that out, and I had gloves, and one of those things that you pull over your whole head so only your lips stick out so you don't get froze to death. I had a
Well,
bunch.
like a mask.
Yeah, mask that covers your whole head and everything. Anyway, I gave the dad the gloves and the
Or a
mask.
balaclava, as they say in England.
Whatever those things are called. And I gave the middle school jacket, my band jacket, to the mother, and she was about the size I was when I was in middle school. I was a little kid, and I had the plush toy and the yodels for, and they started to cry
Oh, that's so beautiful.
because they
That's
were
nice.
just driving by and they said, "Oh, we heard you weren't feeling too well." I said, "Yeah, but I'm getting better." And she goes, "Well, we got to go. It's our kid's birthday, and we got to go. And we're going to somebody else's house because we have no money for anything." And I said, "Oh, wait a minute." And I just started digging around in my pony, and I pulled all this stuff out. And they're amazed. But that's my pony. It's like the magic pony. Whatever I kind of need, it's in there.
Good.
And that jacket was like, it's one of those band jackets you have, that's like you wear it before you march on the field for the football game.
Oh, wow.
So that was from years and years, from the 1960s. And I just
Does it
found
have,
it the other
little,
day.
the brass buttons on it?
No, it had zippers, but it had the cleft tone on the back, and
Nice.
and it said,
Oh, I get it's almost like a varsity jacket.
Yes.
But it's for band.
but for band.
I got you.
Right.
Okay. I was thinking more of those, like when people do like in a parade and shit.
No. This was more a varsity jacket for the band, and I was in middle
Nice.
school, and I was the only guy brave enough to play what's the biggest saxophone there is? The bass saxophone, or what do they call it? But it's like about 4 feet gigantic, right? And it was almost it weighed more than I did, and I could play it, not well, but enough that it filled that little space in the band. So actually, when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I was cool. I got a jacket because I played, because they only had one band. It started at 6th grade and it went up to high school. It's like one band, and they had the concert band and they had the football band. And so I got not stuck, but I wanted to play a saxophone. I actually wanted to play the clarinet, and everybody else. And so the only instrument they had, and the guy who was the band guy was kind of sick fuck. So I was this little peanut of a guy. He says, "Here, you can play this." Like I said, it weighed more than I did. But that's life. But I was just about to leave, and so I will say au revoir, and it's okay if I Reiki you from afar, correct?
Yes.
So I'm going to do that right now to make you better.
Okay, I'm headed to the drugstore
Okay,
to get some nasal decongestant.
right? Colloidal silver. If they have colloidal silver, get that too.
Oh yeah, and I'm also gonna get the teacher.
Yep, and if they have thieves is really good.
I don't think they have.
Ask them if they know what thieves is. It was a magical potion that the what's the name of that crew, that mob back in the 3rd century, the guys who became the Anunnaki Jews. Oh, danger, Will Robinson.
gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's a guy trying to make trouble. I can tell. He's one of those troublemaker guys. We come from the same school.
I read his horoscope. It's a cloud. It's a
Right. Okay, as long as that's not a metaphor for something else.
I gotta say, think of it what you will.
Yes. Okay, homeboy. Yep.
So let's do this right. Come on. Walking great.
Still, oh. Yeah, I gotta go. See you later. Avista land.